Project Management Fundamentals. In this section, we're going to begin looking at PMBOK terminology as it's defined by PMI. We want to get away from the typical definitions that you may be used to within your organization and start looking at exactly how does PMI describe things. So let's start with a project. What is a project? A project is temporary with a definite start and a definite end. This doesn't mean that a project is short in duration. We could think about some very large-scale projects, such as the Great Pyramids, which took many years to build, or perhaps a skyscraper or a suspension bridge. These could be several years long, however, there's a definite start where a need was identified and work begins, but there's also a definite end. So with constructing the pyramids, eventually the last brick goes on top. They're not going to continue to build forever. At some point, they reach a desired end state. A project has a unique product, service, or result as a deliverable. When we say unique, this is going to be something different that the organization is not used to doing. This just makes good sense when we think about project management as a methodology and when it would be invoked. Obviously, if we do something on a recurring basis, then we wouldn't really have to put a whole lot of planning or thought into it. Think about a family vacation. If we go on vacation to the same spot twice a year, every year, then it really isn't too difficult to figure out exactly what we need to do to get there. However, if we've never gone on a family vacation and we're deciding to go overseas perhaps, at that point we might not even have passports yet. This could require a whole lot more planning. So it has to be something that is different than the standard operational work of the organization. The PMBOK Guide definition of a project is a temporary endeavor undertaken to create a unique product, service, or result. There are many reasons to perform a project, such as to drive change within an organization, or to create business value, or possibly responding to other factors that are having an influence on the organization, such as some type of regulatory or legal requirement, or to create, improve, or fix products, processes, or services within the organization. What is project management? Project management is the utilization and coordination of resources to make something new. It is leading and directing a new venture. Simply put, it's getting from point A to point B as efficiently and effectively as possible. I do want to hone in on these two words, efficiently and effectively. When we talk about effective, this is how an organization typically views whether or not a project is successful. Effectiveness is the ability to generate a desired end state. For example, if you were to tell me that I had to go ahead and cook dinner, I could absolutely provide some type of sustenance. Now, does that mean that it will be efficient? Well, efficiency is a measure of being effective for the fewest amount of resources possible. So how much food did I burn? How much money did I waste? And how long did it take? From a project management perspective, we do want to be effective, and that will be the primary metric of whether or not we are successful within the project. However, efficiency is a very close second. Project management requires that we be good stewards of our organization's resources. We're talking about all of our human capital, raw material, equipment, machinery, and also monetary resources. Now, scheduling is another aspect of this. We don't want the project to take longer than it has to. So efficiency measures all of these things. The PMBOK Guide definition of project management is the application of knowledge, skills, tools, and techniques to project activities to meet the project's requirements. It should be considered a strategic competency. Projects versus operations. Both projects and operations have a place within an organization. Very few organizations strictly have projects, and very few will strictly have operations. Projects are temporary and operations will be ongoing. Projects can help support operations or make them better. Operations will produce some type of repetitive product, service, or result. So we have some examples of what operations may be. And with operations, there is no scheduled end date. I like to use the example of a bakery. So constructing the bakery would be a project. We have a definite start where we identify the need for a new bakery, and we have a definite end when we have finished construction. At that point, we would transition our deliverable, which would be the actual building, to operations. Operations would then go ahead and start baking donuts. These donuts will continue to be produced until the business is no longer financially viable or there's some other type of trigger mechanism that causes the operation to shut down. Now, while these operations are ongoing, we may have other projects that will support it. It could be renovations to the kitchen, which would have a definite start and definite end. It could be the development of a new type of donut. However, the actual operations going on would never really be considered a project, even though we could say that, making a donut is temporary. There's a definite start of I need a donut and a definite end of I've finished cooking the donut. It's not a unique deliverable. It is a repetitive deliverable. Since we're just kind of cranking these things out, it's not going to really be considered a project, even though it has a characteristic of being temporary.